I've been saying for a while, we are going to be paying for what's gone on for the last year for a very long time. We ran up a big bill. I mean, think of just, coronavirus. Yesterday was the worst day of the entire pandemic as far as deaths. Over 4,000 just yesterday. That is more than all heart disease deaths, all cancer deaths, and all accidents combined in one day. That is a crazy thing. We didn't even think about it. We didn't even notice it. And if you think about what the effects of that are, not just on the death toll, which is high, but also on the economic toll. We're about to have Joe Biden come into office, and he's already projecting a $2 to $3 trillion program to help put us back on our feet after COVID. And God only knows what kind of special gifts are going to be in that thing. It's going to be a disaster. And you are going to be losing a lot of your money with the tax increase. We'll be getting to that, of course, in the coming weeks. The reason I bring that up is when you have these big events, these big, terrible negative things, there's always a big price to pay in the weeks after. If you go back to 9/11, for example, obviously we had a terrible incident with death toll that was very high. And then you step back from that. Well, years and years later, I was on a plane the other day. I'm still, taking off my belt and my shoes and taking my laptop out of its bag. These prices you don't stop paying for them. The bill just keeps coming in every single month. It's not like you go to a restaurant and you buy a meal and you leave. It's a subscription product. You will pay for one of these incidents for a very long time. The incident at the Capitol this weekend, well, certainly nowhere near the death tolls of either of the ones I've talked about so far, is going to have a price that's similar in some ways. You remember Rahm Emanuel when Barack Obama came into office, and they were dealing with a financial crisis, and they thought, you know what, we're going to try to pass all the stuff we've ever wanted. We're going to go for it. You can't let a crisis go to waste. And what he meant by that, it was not some evil plan. It was an acknowledgement of reality. After a school shooting, it's a lot easier to pass gun control legislation. After a financial crisis, it's a lot easier to get people to spend money. After a pandemic, it's a lot easier to get people to spend money. After a terrorist attack on an airplane, it's a lot easier to get massive security through. This is just reality. And it's going to come. This is the type of event that's going to define a year or an era. It is one of those things. When we talk about the end of the Trump administration, they're going to talk about this day. And not to say that, certainly the president didn't tell anybody to go and wreck the Capitol, but it's going to be associated with Trump. I think we can all recognize that. It's also going to go further than that. There's no benefit in ousting Donald Trump to the left right now. Why? Well, the election's already over, right? He's going to be out in just a couple of weeks, as he's said already. And that leaves too much on the table for the left. They're looking at this and saying, what else can we do? What other things can we take control of? What other paths to gaining power can we acquire? And the target is going to be conservative media. The Blaze is a big entity now. Okay, we've been around for a while, and at the beginning everybody was kind of just a little Glenn Beck fan club at the beginning, and it's expanded into so much more with people like Mark Levin and Steven Crowder after the merger, and of course everybody else that's on the network. People are here for a lot of different reasons now. But let me talk directly to the good old Glenn Beck crew here for a second. This is the moment that Glenn built the Blaze for. Look at what they're doing already. They're targeting conservative media all over the board. They're saying that conservative media is the one that inspired all of the issues at the Capitol. Conservative media needs to be censored. You're seeing this all over the place, not just with Donald Trump's Twitter page, but dozens of organizations and pages are being removed from the internet right now. Our own Elijah Schaefer's been targeted. Why? Because he was recording, as a journalist, what was going on inside the Capitol. In fact, one of the only reasons we know what went on inside the Capitol is because he was there filming it and recording it. There was a New York Times reporter taking pictures. They're not in trouble. They're being praised for their front page story with all their wonderful pictures of what was going on inside. This is what happens, and we understand this is what happens. But if you step back and realize that they're going to come after conservative voices, they're going to come after conservative media, and the one sort of hole in the entire plan, the past decade and a half, has been the rise of alternative media. It's been hard to deny the people the facts that the media wants to deny them, the perspectives that people want to be denied. I'm looking at the CNN Brian Stelter newsletter, and listen to the reaction after of this particular newsletter. We regularly discuss what big tech companies have done to poison public conversation by providing large platforms to bad faith actors who lie, mislead, and promote conspiracy theories. But what about TV companies that provide platforms to such networks as Newsmax, One America News, and yes, Fox News? They want it all. I mean, there's got to be something here when CNN is criticizing its direct competitors and basically trying to take them out. Somehow these companies have escaped scrutiny. Really? Has Fox News really escaped scrutiny? Is that a fair summary of what has happened with Fox News? Well, CNN says that should not be the case anymore. After Wednesday's incident of domestic terrorism at Capitol Hill, it's time that TV carriers face questions for lending their platforms to dishonest companies that profit off disinformation and conspiracy theories. So why do AT&T, which is CNN's parent company, CenturyLink, and Verizon carry OAN? Why do AT&T, CenturyLink, Verizon, Comcast, Charter, and Dish carry Newsmax? Why do they all carry Fox, which is, frankly, at times just as irresponsible and dangerous with its platform as the smaller competitor networks? At least Facebook, Twitter, and others have acknowledged that they have some responsibility for the content they host and have very clearly posted community standards. Why do we expect any less of TV companies? It goes on to talk about Rush Limbaugh. They're now going after Rush Limbaugh for something that he said. And they're saying, I asked Premier Networks, which is the parent company of our radio show, why won't they comment? Is it okay with its top host appearing to endorse political violence, especially in the wake of at least 4 dying in our nation's capital? It goes on and on and on. And I come to you with this plea. If you believe that voices like the Blaze, if you like OAN, if you like any of these other networks, you need to support them if you have the means. Why? Because they're going to go away. Twitter pages are going to go away. They're going to come after the reporters. They're going to come after the personalities. They're going to come after the networks. This is an excuse to get this stuff gone. We all know that there's been crazy people forever who do crazy things, and that's what happened in the Capitol, and I've been unequivocal in that. I hated it. I legitimately hated what happened the other day. And I have absolutely no sympathy for the people who did it, and I have no connection to that. But that being said, the left and the media are going to try to take conservative media out with that as an excuse. They try to trample your Second Amendment rights when someone uses a gun incorrectly, and in their mind, someone's using conservative thought incorrectly here, and they're being inspired to do bad things. So I asked you one more time. I won't beat you up on it. I'm just going to say, if you happen to enjoy the programming here, if you happen to be watching for free on YouTube or Pluto, wherever you are, that's totally fine. You can stay there forever. We love you. But if you feel like you want to get more out of this and you want to support conservative media, there's never been a better time to do it. BlazeTV.com/Stu is the place to go. The promo code is Stu. You'll save $10. You'll tell them how much you love this fantastic little show. And you'll support conservative media, because without your support, we're toast.